Bulls Nation, after a long, very long, rigorous, tiring, positive, negative season, it is safe to say, officially now, the Chicago Bulls have played their last game of the season. And I wanted to delay this video a little bit so I can get and try to combine multiple videos at once, so I'm not making constant videos on the same thing during this course of time. But the Chicago Bulls versus the Milwaukee Bucks in their last game today. The Chicago Bulls weekly has come to an end as of today, and most importantly, we have a lot to talk about in terms of the off season after this game. So without further ado, let's talk about the Chicago Bulls versus the Milwaukee Bucks in this video. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show, and welcome back to another video. Today, we've got a Chicago Bulls versus Milwaukee Bucks game reaction, but we're also going to have a little bit more in this video as per usual. It's the end of the season. The Chicago Bulls season is officially over, and as we look towards the playoffs, if you're a neutral or if you're looking for the off season for the Chicago Bulls, we definitely have a lot to talk about how the rest of the season will play out for other teams, also how the Chicago Bulls will spend their off season, what they will be doing, and all of these things. We're going back to making a little bit of news videos on this channel. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls overall today. In the end, this was just a fun kind of way to end the season. Not really, no one's best players played, to be honest. Zach LaVine didn't play, Vucevic didn't play, of course a bunch of our other players didn't play. Obviously for the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis didn't play, Drew Holiday didn't play, Brook Lopez didn't play, Chris Middleton didn't play. All of the above, none of them played. In the end, this was basically a G League, Summer League vibe game where it was scoring and scoring and scoring with little to no defense being played. But the Chicago Bulls did win this game, did end the season on a positive note in terms of the win and loss record, 118 to 112. So I think officially now we've had 9 more wins compared to last season, which is a very big bonus for the Chicago Bulls. In the end, I have a strong feeling that many people did not want us to win this game because it would have affected our draft chances, our top 4 chances in the NBA draft. And again, that is always a big thing to talk about when you're talking about the draft. Obviously, there are many ways the Bulls can enter the draft if we want to trade into it, or if we get lucky enough for a top 4 chance. I think at this point in time, the Chicago Bulls has a 20% chance of getting into the top 4 of the NBA draft, and I believe there's a 3-way coin toss or something of that sort to see who will actually be the odds-on favorite between around our seeds, the 9th, 10th, and 11th worst record, or something of those lines. So we're gonna have to wait and see how all of that goes. Again, videos will be made on those in due time. But the Chicago Bulls today, let's talk about the actual game itself first of all. This game was, again, it was one of those fun ones just to end the season. You got to see players that you didn't really see all season get an opportunity today. Devin Dotson got his meaningful minutes as a Chicago Bull. He also got a post-game interview. He played very well. And the Chicago Bulls, in the end, this was just one of those games where it doesn't mean much. Go out there and do what you do. Just play for fun and see what happens. And in the end, both teams managed to do that. The Milwaukee Bucks didn't bring out their best team. They were going to bring their best team. They had the starting lineup out and everything, and they even announced their best starting lineup. But again, once the Brooklyn Nets capitalized and took advantage and got the 2nd seed, Milwaukee had nothing to play for at the end of the day. So they rested their players, we rested our players. It was bench versus bench with, of course, Coby White, Thaddeus Young. Again, we had the better team overall because it is what it is, I guess. Milwaukee didn't want to risk any player of significant importance to their team. And we got the job done. We won the game. And there's not really too much to say on the tactical side of things. Again, this is basically a summer league game. This is what it felt like, where it was just scoring upon scoring upon scoring. No one really missed shots. Coby White had a great scoring night in the first half. Obviously, Devin Dotson played very, very well. Even Felicio got some minutes, got his career high in rebounds within the first quarter, or season high, sorry. and Thaddeus played well. Overall, everybody played well. I'm not going to really go into individual performers either, but this is just a nice way to end the season. It was with a strong performance from a lot of our guys. You had Patrick Williams with 11-7. You had Larry Markkinen with 17-5. You had Thaddeus with 20-7. You had Coby White with 19. Obviously, you had Devin Dotson, I believe, with 11 points. Again, there was just so many positive performances because this game had little significance. They were just going out to play for fun. There was no stress. There was no anxiety. This is the game of basketball that they love at the end of the day. This is what they work for. And they played freely. And that's again, it's not ideal to be in this situation now where we're out of the playoffs, we're out of the play-in tournament, and we're watching other teams play in a spot that I think we should be in. But at the end of the day, the season didn't work out well for us. This game was just a one-off that meant nothing to both teams, and we ended up picking up a win that didn't really mean much towards the season. It does mean much towards our draft odds, and again, for those that wanted to lose this game, I don't really believe in losing on purpose, so I kind of agree on the Chicago Bulls side on this one and winning the game. But again, it is what it is. We can say what we like about the draft odds and all of that. We're going to have to move on from that real quick. I'm going to go into the must improve and the player of the game. I'm not going to give a must improve on the end of the season. I just think that's ridiculous, to be honest. My player of the game is probably going to be Thaddeus Young. I thought Thaddeus played very, very nicely today, and he was dominant. And again, this was a game where he turned into a prime Thaddeus Young. He was dunking on everybody today, and it was good to see. I still wish he would have got his triple-double this season. Not to be. Hopefully next season he'll be back, and next season he can try to go for it again, because that was by far his best playmaking season for this team. If there's any chance he was going to get a triple-double, it would have been this season. So hopefully next season he can do even better than this season, and then we will have more chances to win games, of course. And yeah, that was the overall game against the Milwaukee Bucks. The final record for the Chicago Bulls, the record that we will end the season on, is 31-41. We lost 10 games more than we've won, and we've made some, in my opinion, we've made some progress this season. We've analyzed what we needed to get done. Again, this was an analysis, an experimental season. We kind of know where we're at. We made improvements off of last season. Of course, we had Jim Boylan, obviously Wendell, Otto Porter, players like that were still here. We made significant progress from last season to this season, but there's clear and major ways to improve this team, and that's something we're going to have to look heavily into going into the off-season. And now to go and kind of move on into a separate video that I'm going to add into this one as well, the Bulls Weekly video, looking at the previous week for the Chicago Bulls. A very interesting week, to say the least. We had 4 games this week for the Chicago Bulls, and at the time, all 4 of them meant really significantly for the Chicago Bulls. And again, we ended this well, in my opinion. We went 2-2, which is not too bad. Obviously, the first game against the Brooklyn Nets we lost. That was without without James Harden. That was a very important game. Again, if we won that game, the last game of the season, we would have had a chance. Put it that way. If we didn't lose that game to the Brooklyn Nets, both games to the Brooklyn Nets, we would have probably been in a play-in tournament right now. And it is what it is. It sucks that we're looking at that way, but it is what it is. There were significant games this year where we shouldn't have lost, or we can't lose, and we did lose them, and that ended up making us where we are now. The game against the Raptors was a pretty convincing win, in my opinion. I don't think there was any doubt that we would beat the Toronto Raptors. Again, they're a weakened side that have been for quite some time. I'm very interested to see what the Toronto Raptors do in the offseason. They're one of my most intriguing teams, so I want to see if they're going to start a rebuild. I want to see if they're going to try and invest heavily into some star players, see if they can maybe get a quick turnaround going, or if they're going to stay the way that they are and see if they're going to stagnate towards the 11th and 10th seed, kind of like where the Bulls are this year. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the Toronto Raptors do. I'm very interested in their offseason. But obviously the Chicago Bulls, we were the better team. We've been the better team than them all season. We've beat them 3 times. It's simple as that. I like Toronto. Again, Toronto is one of my favorite teams in the NBA. No disrespect to any other team, but I always liked the international kind of fan base, and Canada's definitely international compared to America, statistically wise at least. So I've always liked Toronto because of that. I'm very interested to see what they do in the offseason. Obviously, the Brooklyn Nets, once again, we lost to them again. This was with Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. And this was a game where, I said it in the game reaction, we tried so hard to beat the Brooklyn Nets in this game, and I really do mean that. Even without our best players, we tried so hard to beat the Brooklyn Nets, and they had an off night, and they still managed to beat us comfortably. So that is the level the Brooklyn Nets are at. That's the level the Chicago Bulls are at, and there's a wide gap there that we need to narrow down. Next season's not going to be the season where we're championship contenders. Next season's probably not going to be the season where we're going to even be close to a championship. But we need to make the playoffs, and we need to slowly close the gap until we become one of the better teams in the East, and we're competing for a championship. It's going to take a while. It's not going to be easy, but the Brooklyn Nets has the blueprint right now, and we need to try and see if we can catch up to them and catch up to other teams in the West as well, and of course in the East, some very dominating teams in the East. And one of them, the Milwaukee Bucks. Now again, we just talked about this. No need to go any further. We beat the Milwaukee Bucks. We ended the season on a win. That's all I really have to say on that. Now we're going into the must improve of the week. All of this, to be honest, is a bit irrelevant now because the season's kind of dead. It's over. I don't really know who to give the must improve to because I don't think we had an awful week, to be honest. There were some games where, like for instance, Coby White had a 3-point game, which was, again, when he plays as many minutes as he does, that's not the best. That's not what you'd like to see. Patrick Williams had a great week as well. Yeah, I don't really know. I'm going to skip all these awards, to be honest. I think the player of the week is definitely... I'll probably say Coby White or Larry Marketing, to be honest. I'll give it to Coby White because I have given player of the games for Coby White for quite some time now. And I'll give it to Coby White as player of the week. But that's all I'm really going to say. I'm not going to really go into the sixth man. Or if you want to give the sixth man, I usually give it to Thaddeus Young. Maybe Garrett Temple deserves a good shout as well this week. But again, the player of the game is going to be Coby White. I thought he had a good week to end it off, and he's had a very good solid month and a half of basketball, and he's kind of learned to adapt his game mid-season, which is very good to see. And in the end, I still think he's going to be a serious part of this team going forward, and we're going to have to see some progression out of him and the rest of our lads in the future. And yeah, that's the Bulls Weekly. And finally, last but not least, I want to give a massive thank you to everybody, all the Chicago Bulls fans that have stuck with me, stuck with other YouTubers throughout the entirety of the season. I've seen firsthand this season that the Chicago Bulls fans are the most loyal, most dedicated, most passionate fans in the world. And we may not agree. I've had many conversations with people that don't agree with what I say or think that I am wrong. And I've had conversations with people that agree with me. At the end of the day, this is exactly what I wanted when I made a YouTube channel. When I made a YouTube channel, I just wanted to talk to other people about the Chicago Bulls. Of course, I made other sports videos as well. I just wanted to talk about sports in general. And this is exactly what I signed up for. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to see communication between me and other people around the world about the Chicago Bulls, what we need to do to improve, who's going to be going in the off-season, who's going to be coming in the off-season, all of these things. This is exactly what I wanted to see. And it's been a very long 72-game season, and I'm sure there's going to be many more seasons to come where I'm talking about game reactions, talking about every other team, talking about the Chicago Bulls, talking about the NBA. There's going to be so much more from me to come, and it's going to be so much more for this Bulls team to go through. And it's going to be very interesting and a very fun experience, and one that I definitely don't take for granted. And I wanted to say a thank you for this because it's been a very long season, and a lot of you, and I really mean a lot of you, have stuck with me for 72 games of the season and have stuck with other Bulls channels 72 games of this season. It's very, very, very... It makes me happy to know that there are so many people that are just like me that love this team so much, and in the end it may lead to disagreements, it may lead to arguments, it may lead to potential controversies, but at the end of the day, it's for one goal. It's for the Chicago Bulls. What is best for this team? What can we do for this team? How can we put our ideas onto this team to see if we can be a better team overall? I'm very, very proud of this organization's fans. And again, the Chicago Bulls might not have been where we wanted to be. We're not in the play-in tournament. We didn't make the playoffs. We didn't get the 8th seed. In the end, it was kind of seen as a up and down season. But one thing that was never up and down was the Bulls fans that really stuck with every single person, watched every single game, kept up with every single game if you couldn't watch it. This is the part that I loved about making a YouTube channel. This is what I've always wanted. So again, enough of the soppy stuff. I'm not a soppy person, but I just wanted to say thank you for sticking with me, sticking with other YouTubers, sticking with other people that write about the Chicago Bulls, make videos about the Chicago Bulls, talk about the Chicago Bulls, and amongst all other NBA teams as well. Thank you from me. On behalf of me and my channel, I want to say thank you. And this is definitely not the end of my channel, of course. Just because it's the off season doesn't mean that there's no videos to be made. In fact, there's probably more videos to be made now it's the off season. We have so much to talk about. We really do. We've got now. As soon as our season ends, now we have news about Dennis Schroeder wanting to come to the Chicago Bulls, or the Bulls wanting Dennis Schroeder. Obviously, Lonzo Ball. Another situation. Zach LaVine doesn't want a max. We have so many videos to talk about, and I have a lot of opinions on these things. So it's definitely not over for the Chicago Bulls videos, and I really hope you stick with me through this off season. And let's see what we can do. Let's see how the Chicago Bulls go, and let's see if we can see a much better team going into next season. Obviously Summer League as well, all of these things. But in due time, that will all come in due time. I just want to say the next video that I do have in mind, and this is going to hurt a lot of people, the play-in tournament predictions. Unfortunately, we didn't make the play-in tournament, so this is going to be a video that I think many people won't watch. But I feel like for the respect of the other teams that did make the play-in tournament and that worked very hard all season to try and get a spot into the playoffs, out of respect for them, I want to make a predictions video to give praises to those teams and also to criticize some of those teams as well that have the opportunity that we failed to capitalize on. So that is going to be the next video that we have. Once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It does mean a lot. Please like and subscribe if you're new to this channel. We're going to have a lot of videos this off season, so don't go away. Again, if you have any video ideas, I do have a lot of video ideas at this point, but again, all of them will be lost in time, I assume. So not all of those videos will be made, but if you do have any video suggestions for me, if you want to see me make a certain type of video, please let me know in the comments below, and I can let you know if I can or cannot do that video, and we shall wait and see how things go in the future. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully you enjoyed the season regardless of its ups and downs, and hopefully next season will be an even better one, and hopefully I'll be making game reactions into the playoffs, game reactions into some future games, positive games, winning games. Let's see what we can do next season. Take care and peace.